Alright, so I figured today I might as well record this and share how I am doing what I'm doing, which is recreating the Kill the Noise Part 1 intro. And for those of you who don't know what that sounds like, it goes a little bit like this. All credit goes to Kill the Noise as well as ODVUSLA. I'm sure that stands for something, but I will leave that for another time. So, before we go anywhere else, here's what I've got, and I'll explain how I did it afterwards I play it. And I should probably extend that out so it doesn't loop. Now, admittedly, it's not perfect. There's a couple of things I need to change with the lead, this part. His is a little bit more vibrant. The saw in the brass is actually a lot stronger than this one. This one kind of comes in and then fades out real quickly. And even if I've been adjusting the attack delay, sustain and release, and it just doesn't seem to want to give that proper saw noise, and I don't know how to explain it. It's more harsh, if anything, than this one. This one's more soft. But anyways, so how I started was how the original song starts. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and move over to another pattern. And I just, number one, you got to set the BPM to 130, 140, somewhere in that range. I've actually probably slowed it down a little bit, or I don't know, maybe I've sped it up. But possibly one of the first things you notice is that there is actually a very heavy bass in the original song. So we'll start it off and speed forward a little bit, but you'll hear it here. And having messed around with FL Studio for quite a bit, I realized that I can replicate that with Sytrus's sub bass. Oh, this is the wrong plugin. Did it again. There we go. Sub bass. That's under presets, bass, sub bass. It's very simple, very deep plugin where it just kind of starts off with simple sine wave, but it's pretty low, and then you can. Although I think I used these two notes. It's yeah, something like that. So I think I started off with that. And then we'll go ahead and pop over to the channel, copy and paste it. Control-C, Control-V. Why is that not working? Control C, Control V. There we go. So there's the bass progression, which I'll play here. This note's actually sustained for quite a long time, as well as the next two notes. So we're just going to skip through it. Now, right now, it sounds like they're pretty quiet, but when the rest of the notes kick in, because the way that sound waves work, this is going to be actually quite strong relative to the rest. So, after that, I think my next thing that I did was use the dead mouse pluck, but I figured in this I might as well copy over the super saw. The strings that you hear, which wrong window. You hear strings and hear there's actually three things going on there: the bass, the strings, and then there's a weird. It almost sounds like an organ, but it's not, and we'll get to that part afterwards. So I went the cheap route and just went with super saw, and I believe the chord starts like something like that. Now, of course, this has got a little bit more pitch variation in it than the one in the song, plus I actually need to send this to the master track and give it a parametric EQ so I can cut. I should probably make that stronger. Do the same thing for the rest of them. There we go. The one problem with this specific plugin is, as you can hear, if I let go of the keys, there's a long delay before it cuts out. So we're going to also hop back over to pattern 1, copy, hop back over to this pattern, paste, and so you'll actually see that I did change the velocity on some of the notes. I think the A on this one was a little bit strong, so we are going to bring that back down. But here's what the bass and the strings sound like, which is actually what you really hear for the first probably close to, I don't know, 8 to 12 bars before the actual intro is done and we move into this chord progression. And so really this part of the song, these 2 bars are really extended out a little bit further back. If you listen to the full version of the song, the music video kind of cuts in right here. So we're going to just kind of skip around. So it's, hold on, it is this. And that actually repeats, but we're going to deal with the entire thing with the melody, so we're going to ignore the fact that it repeats for now. So that deals with the strings. And then I said there were 3 things that you hear. There's also that organ sounding thing, which I replicated with 3x oscillator and just turned 2 of them all the way down to 0 and 1 of them up to 1 octave above, which sounds like this. And then to create the sound that I wanted, I just listened by ear, I transcribed it, and if I remember correctly, it's just 2 notes at a time. There's the root note, and then some note within the minor chord up or down. So in this case, it's this, which we're going to. That does it for that sort of organ sounding thing. You can use whatever synthesizer. I found that this one works the best when trying to do that. So finally, the next thing that I did was I actually did the dead mouse pluck, and just to show you what that sounds like, Control C, by itself. I really need to... I have to do it in the pattern, but the pattern is going to have some modifications I don't want, but that's okay. So what it sounds like right here is... And so how to create that, deadmau5 has a video on his masterclass, and he used Serum. It's actually the reason why I got it. We'll clone, and then just to start from scratch, presets, init. Actually, let me go over here, reload plugin. There we go. Okay, so Serum, basic saw. So let me hop over the piano roll for this one. So nothing too fancy right now, but what we can do is we can make the LFO right here, set it to, hold on, that would be eighth notes. Put that on the cutoff knob here, turn on the filter, and now if we do this, oh, I gotta get the notes right. But you can hear that the top end is a little bit too bright, so we want to bring that down. And then we can adjust the knob itself to, which is what happens in the song. And so if you actually, oh, I forgot one last thing is we bring the unison up. I like 4, but you can have whatever you want. Great at playing piano, aren't I? Okay, so it's... Anyways, you get the idea. And then I just stacked, I started with just the top chords, and I moved it down an octave, and that didn't sound quite right, so I just went ahead and stacked it and just kind of moved some notes around. It starts off with just these. And then when the bass note comes in on this bar, I added the bottom note as well to complete the chord, because it sort of sounds incomplete at first, and then it fills itself in, and then it just, you know, continued onwards. If you're asking how I found out all the keys, I don't know, I just kind of listened by ear, and then I always go for just 3-note chords, and then I try to move it around until it sounds in the right spot. So now all together, this pattern sounds like this. Oh, hold on, let me copy that back over into pattern 2. So now, altogether, we need the automation that's going to happen here, so I will turn this one off. We'll go to the song. Oh yeah, I forgot, the 3x oscillator, the volume kind of rises as we gradually reach bar 9. And then the Serum filter cutoff. That should be... Let me just double check. Okay, so what you gotta do to get this to work, you can't right click and then do automate preset because of the way that this plugin's built, or create automation clip. So what you can do is you can just move this around, tools, last tweak, create automation clip. I'm not going to do that because I've already got one, and if you create two, it just causes problems. But you'll see that if I actually bring this right here, you'll watch this knob rise up. You can actually automate this as well, but I didn't need to because the length doesn't, the length of the, or not the length, the width of the filter cutoff doesn't change. It's really just the area in which it's rising towards. So, but anyways, what we've got so far is it's all good, it's all fancy. I think that's the next thing that I needed to add. Wasn't it? Oh, I can delete that. I don't need that. So, yeah. The next bit, oh boy, was, it was a bit of a kicker. So I had to go out and find a synthesizer that had that sort of brass synth sound from the 80s, which he uses for his melody right around here, I think. And that wasn't too hard because I already knew about Tal V2 LX because it's meant to be. I'm not super familiar with my synths from the 80s, but I think it's meant to replicate a lot of them, specifically the Juno 6, because you've got Juno presets in here. Where'd you go? Oh wait, no, they're here. So you've got the Juno presets, but you've also got, I guess, FMR, FN, and Tal. I'm not familiar with them. I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to try and make any guesses as to what they're all supposed to replicate. I assume the Tal or TAL is a synthesizer, a physical one from the 80s. So I just went and did Juno brass, and I had to mess around with the attack, delay, sustain, and rest a little bit, because if I move this at all, what's going to happen is the sound's not going to be the exact same as it was before. And then I put a crap load of stuff on it. I've got a sound goodizer to help boost some of the noisiness, the stair shaper for a little bit of movement, the delay, which if you actually listen to the song, you'll hear it kind of ping pong, the da da da. But I'm still working out on the left right echoey. That's not working very much. And then of course reverb. So with the reverb, it sounds like this. Oh, that's right. I should probably just turn on pattern 1 now. Sorry, my keyboard my playing keyboard disconnected. So, anyways, but yeah, I did most of that. I know I did all of that by ear. The only problem I had was this section right here, which sounds like this. I just could not get that, because it was... This first one was a little bit closer, because it was just all, you know, arpeggiating, kind of bouncing down the scales. But this one over here doesn't exactly hit the scales. It's still in the same chord that starts off the melody, and the melody really sticks with that chord no matter what, unless you're like right. I think it kind of just doesn't change. But this one was a little bit harder, and what I actually had to do is... Where'd you go? There you are. What I actually did was I took the audio clip from the song, and I matched it up on almost a 1:1 ratio. Where'd you go? I just kind of did this, and then I just played it like one note at a time. And this is going to get real obnoxious, so I should probably turn off all of this just so that it doesn't make my computer crap itself. And I just went one note at a time like that until I got the whole thing, and then I played it out like this. And so, I think his version of the song may have a slightly higher pitch or lower pitch than the synthesizer that I have does. But anyways, altogether now, it's, you know, sounds pretty much, you know, it's close enough if I turn everything on. Turn everything on. Oh yeah, that's that. That's what was going on. I had a filter which I really need to just place with null. Turn it back on. Now, it still needs some refinement, because right around here, even though you can see the beats are on time, with the deadmau5 pluck sound in the background, the brass still sounds a little bit delayed. And I'm not sure how to fix that. I guess what I would do is hop over to pattern 2 and just paste it into that one. sounds a lot better. And then what else would I have done? Yeah, that pretty much covers it right there. Although I'd probably also add some other stuff, but it doesn't matter too much. Well, yeah. And then there's where he has his kill the noise chant. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, the only thing I'd say that you really need to do for this is work out finding a proper synthesizer for each of the instruments. I mean, if you have FL Studio Producer Edition, comes with Sytrus, which means you've already got the strings down. Comes with 3x oscillator, which is, again, you already have the, I guess, the organ. I don't believe, or I know it doesn't come with Tal Uno LX V2. I can't remember if this is a free plugin or if you have to buy it. My gut is telling me it's free, but if it's not, I'll flash up a little notification on the video that says it's not and how much it is. I do know that, oh yeah, the last plugin that I've got, or really the Dead Mouse plugin, Serum, is not free. This one, I think, was $99. Which isn't bad, because it's a great plugin. It's got plenty of useful features on it that I still need to explore. But, I mean, I mainly use this for plucked saws, because it's just so damn easy to do it, just by drag and drop everything and move it around. So, I mean, that's really it. Not much else to go. So, anyways, hope you liked the video.